Samuel, welcome to the Creative Blood Experience.
Hello.
Are you ready?
Oh my gosh, I'm so curious.
Me too. Listen, so what I've got here with me is a deck of 50 cards with questions for you about how you've navigated your creative experience so far.
Okay.
The questions have been created based on hundreds of conversations we've had with the very, very best in the creative industries. Each card contains one question designed to reveal how you have navigated your creative experience so far and, in turn, share insights that our listeners can take into their own creative lives. Soon I'm going to ask you to randomly choose 10, but before I do you have any questions for me?
No, I'm all good. Ready to go.
All right, so I'm going to give the cards a shuffle. And whilst I do that, I'd love to introduce you to our listeners.
Okay.
Samuel, you've been described by many as an art prodigy for your multimedia paintings and sculptures, which are large, swirling, colourful odes, to use the term you use, Afro-presentism. Samuel, my understanding of that term is that it is an extension of Afrofuturism and asks people to reflect on the urgency for Black people to live, create and thrive in the present.
Yes, that's it.
Cool. Okay, so you are from Recife, a beach town in northeast of Brazil, and you've previously described yourself as a queer, Afro-Indigenous visual and multimedia artist from a third world country ruled by a wannabe dictator. You had your first show age 15 and your first major solo show in New York aged just 20. It was called Beautiful Wounds and was about the death of 5 of your friends over a period of just 6 months. Since then, you've exhibited in Zurich, Paris, Los Angeles, New York, Marrakesh, Mexico City, and all over Brazil. You also have close ties with the world of fashion and design. You've painted the cover for the September issue of Vogue Brazil, been the cover star of Harper's Bazaar art issue, and collaborated with the likes of Comme des Garçons, who in 2022 named you their Artist of the Year. And finally, Sam, word on the street is that you travel the globe with nothing more than 2 briefcases and a backpack, along with your 2-meter canvases. What an incredible life story so far.
Yeah, it's been quite a interesting journey. It's just that nowadays it's 3 luggages instead of 2. And but besides that, it's been quite a beautiful rock and roll bumpy ride.
Okay, we're going to crack on with the cards and the questions, but first, we've got to paint a picture for the listeners because we can hear the birds going nuts, and I know that you're in the most wonderful location right now outside Florence.
Yes, right now, I've been graced to be in an art residency. So I'm creating and living in a house that is literally filled with gods, like statues from gods all over the world. Looking through the window, I have a quite big olive garden and a small vineyard.
Gorgeous.
It's quite quiet, a lot of bird noises. Sometimes here and there's a car. So I came here 3 weeks ago and I haven't left. It's one of those things that I don't believe in accident. So it's one of those things that I go, I roll the dice, I go to a country and God makes things figure out itself.
It's incredible. And this term, Afro-presentism, where did it come from?
Yeah, Afro-presentism, it started as, it's not only something by me, but it's the Black and Indigenous and queer community in Brazil. But then on these terms more, the Black and Indigenous queer community. The word itself, it was like everyone was not only investigating, but just simply living and realizing that our lives were being told either by things of the past or as imaginations of the future. So it became a personal, not only a quest, but also part of a life decision of making the most of the time that I have now and really setting up in a new narrative where the existence of someone like me is not something that has to be encapsulated by a gallery or a museum, but something that can be seen on the day-to-day in art, media, and fashion and politics.
It's a very, very powerful message. To actually hear it from you in your own words is a real gift. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Samuel, I think it's time to play. This is probably a good time to tell you that there are 2 wildcards which may contain slightly punchier questions.
Oh my gosh.
Don't be scared. And a dealer's choice, which means I get to ask you a question very specifically about you. You're going to pick 10. You tell me how you want to do it.
I think you can just keep on shuffling then, and I just say this one, and we have one flow of energy.
Okay.
This one. Yes.
Okay.
This
one? It's cool?
Uh-huh.
That one was winking at you.
the one there. Yes.
Let's do it.
And just one more?
All right, this is a big decision, this one.
There.
Question number 1. What's the biggest challenge that you've faced in your career to date?
Wow. So for the past 3 years, I'm creating and living as an independent artist. It's almost like I've been working a lot. I've been doing 7 to 10 countries each year. I dance a lot. If I'm doing anything, I'm dancing. And that's one of the reasons why I love big canvases, because I dance while I'm painting. So this year is the first time where I have proper back pain.
Right.
And I realized I have to adapt some things within the rhythm of how I create.
Pain is exhausting. So when you're traveling, when you're needing to have all your energy to create and feel, how do you manage that? How are you at taking time out?
It's one of those things that sometimes I still feel a tiny guilty when I go and I do 12 hours or an all-nighter in the studio. That's something that I do a lot. And each day I've been accepting more that I simply need time to do nothing. It's not that I gotta sit down in the room and just look at the ceiling, but it's really time to feel how my body is feeling things.
Yeah.
We have this saying in some families in Brazil, and something that I use a lot within my work, that is called generational wisdom. So body memory, the way that your body knows how to move and make some things that you were never taught. So our bodies, especially when you come from an ancestral line like I do, it's adapted to survive.
Yeah.
But then it became literally my main thing as not to survive, but I have the desire to live. And that became the most important thing.
Yeah.
There's this thing when I'm making art that I always trust that things going to get better. When is the month that I sell a painting or a series of artwork, I feel very happy and I'm ready to go for some months and to carry on and to create new projects. If I don't sell anything, then it becomes a countdown for a miracle.
Yes.
It's every day there's this rush of anxiety.
Yeah.
And it becomes a game of living. Because if I think about the process and the place that I come from and, the amount of things that I had to do to be here and to create, it's kind of intense and funny to make sense out of those things. So I'm on one of these moments now where I decided not to worry. I mean, I'm not ignoring how things are. It's just that the urge and the love for creation comes first. And the belief that things are going to get better, it becomes my daily mantra.
It's all your instinct, right? You're following your instincts. Question number 2, sir. What's your top tip for getting your work seen or heard?
Yeah, be loud.
Brilliant.
And realize that people not necessarily are reading your mind. Because here's the thing. Once you are creative, sometimes you live in this mind space in your head where for a long time you think I have the vision and I'm going to change the world and no. But then as long as you don't put it out, no one will know about it. And you don't need to be necessarily loud in terms of the volume of your voice or being rude or anything, but find a place of a peaceful loudness, a furious sense of harmony, especially in the beginning. You gotta find a way to get the people that you want their attention to give you the attention. For me, I remember literally doing researching on Google, everyone from the galleries, directors of museum, journalists. And this I was living in my hometown. It was 15. And I found the Facebook of everyone. Then I added them and I messaged them hi, my name is Saboia. I have 15 years old. I'm setting myself to go to São Paulo. And I made a series of 10 paintings in paper, and I'm selling each one of them for 200 reais. Would you like to buy one? And then I said that message, I copied and paste and I sold all the paintings.
Are you serious?
Yeah. That's how it started.
That's where the word chutzpah comes from. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
It's really this thing of like, I want this, and I'm not afraid of dealing with a little bit of shame or stage fright or something. Like I'm not afraid of the gaze of others, especially if in the end of the day the way I look at myself is a way that makes me happy.
Yeah.
So it's like when someone says that you're doing something ridicule or you're putting yourself in a situation where you're exposed. I mean, yeah, I am exposed. Like I'm literally making art based on feelings and emotions and on the world that I not only see but feel. So it's completely exposed out there. Like I'm bare naked. And then if it's I'm already naked within the process and within the creation, then I'm not afraid of going to someone that actually has something that I want, and more than that, has something that I need, and go them and tell exactly that I need that.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's like I make this joke with a friend of mine that is like, it's okay to fall. You just have to learn how to fall like a cat, because a cat falls like standing up.
Yes.
So in the end, that's my sort of advice. Like put your face out there and ignore that someone might be laughing, because they're laughing because they didn't have enough courage and braveness to do what they're doing. So let people laugh, and then one day the laugh can become a very nice sound.
What's a risk that you've taken that has changed your life?
Well, there were two moments. I think the first was when I was 17 and I left home. I mean, I love my parents and I love our family and I love our values. But you have that final click where it's really like, it's not even to fight or to flee. It's really like, if you don't leave now, you die.
To fly.
Yeah, it's really that. It's like, and for me, like I always was very certain that once I left, things would get to a phenomenal state. But when you are saying those things and you are sleeping in one bedroom that hardly can fit a bed and a table, and you are working, selling fried chicken or cleaning people's houses, so you buy books and you have like, this sort of narrative. And then you are there telling to your parents like, yeah, I'm going to become an artist and I'm going to fly all around the world and I'm going to have pieces at MoMA with me at Guggenheim and I'm going to do this and this and that and I'm going to become one of the most important artists alive. And when you're saying these sort of things and your parents are like, yes, we believe in miracles. And then
we believe in you, Samuel.
But then at the same time, they're like, yeah, but I don't know how I'm going to do this here.
Yeah.
So it was that decision. And I left my parents' house with what would be the equivalent to 200 euros and 2 luggages. And I went to São Paulo to live there for 3 months.
Yeah.
So that was the first step. And then, after some years, deciding to leave the gallery and start working independently again.
Why was it so important for you to leave the gallery?
When I left, it really was after some bad experiences.
Okay.
I went to some proper like crazy things in terms of a very important show in a country. Like no one of my age made the sort of exhibition and the sort of work. And then I realized that I'm living on my studio in the middle of pandemic, and I live in a place that doesn't even have a shower.
Yeah.
It's like realizing that I'm not being taken care of. And I saw many times this narrative of especially Black and Indigenous artists that becomes it's almost like it became the golden goose of the gallery or of the people that are working with. And they're gonna use and exploit until there's nothing left. So it was sort of the decision where I not only care for what I do, but I care how this affects others. And I was caring a lot about what are the seeds that I'm planting there. And the soil was fertile, but it was like, I'd rather make a very beautiful organic produce that's going to take time than make stuff that is full with toxins that in the long time is going to make a bad thing for me and for others.
Makes sense.
I mean, I like glossy things. I like things that shine, but I want something that is everlasting. I don't want something that goes within the culture in the moment now, and 1 month later, people forget about it.
So would you say that it's actually quite important to remind ourselves, risk can be a good thing. It doesn't have to be associated with negative. And I guess you're describing something where you're in a space that if you were from the outside looking in, it would have looked like everything that one would have wanted, but actually you weren't happy. So it was only you that could know that perhaps and take that decision for yourself.
Yeah, it's really that. It's to the point where until this day, people are like, "Well, why? Like things are going so well," and I'm like, "Yeah, things are going so well, but I'm not here to do well. I don't want things to stop on the well part, on the nice part. It's really this thing about long-term vision. I really, at some point I had hope, and now hope becomes something so tactile that I feel the way that it moves me. And then hope became energy, and energy becomes motivation, and motivation becomes attention, and attention becomes work. So it's the sort of thing that it keeps fulfilling itself. And then it's more than money or structure. It's really about living.
Okay. I think everybody listening to this is now going to potentially hand in their resignation.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Make like big life decisions or life choices that they've been meaning to for ages.
Yeah.
No, it's so beautiful. It really is. And it's very powerful. We're in environments that are very, actually quite structured, and they're designed to keep us continually moving. So it's only if we press stop abruptly sometimes that we actually get to jump. So speaking of jumping, big question actually. What are you like to work with? How do you think others describe you?
Okay. I love being in a room where you can feel balance and allowing everyone to have their spotlight.
Yeah.
I mean, I come from a community-based life system at all times. So it does makes a lot of the way that how I maneuver things and how I care about people. I do have a very old in terms of not energy, but sometimes like I always become the mother of the group. Like I really want to make sure that everyone is doing well, and my group is very funny because it's like one of the people is 19, the other one is 60, another 48-year-old, someone that is on their 80s. It's just like a whole mix of thinkers and amazing, beautiful artists. And I always care about sharing, and I care about complexity a lot. Like I say a lot, even the phrase itself, like I say a lot, complexity over complication. And then there's another one that I really love that is once you look into anything in your life within curiosity instead of fear, that's when things get interesting.
Absolutely. Agree.
It's this place of allowing the unknown to be present, allowing the things that don't have a body, the things that don't necessarily can be put into words. And then through the way that I create, for 5 years now, I've been developing a science, like a proper way of thinking and developing art and creative work, where I use the word arte itself as an anagram, and it goes like amare, that is amor, love in Latin. Then have, that is dream in French, time for tempo, for a time, and because arte in Portuguese has a e, letter E in the end, and for espírito. So it's love, dream, time, and spirituality. And then this became the ground base for my work. And it's the thing that I care to bring on once I'm somewhere where I'm working with a piece, project, an exhibition, a collaboration, directing, making music, dancing. Every time that I'm there, I'm doing based on this system. Yeah.
Incredible. So it's the gaps, it's the space in between. That's the focus. All right.
You tell me if I ever go too deep. Like I come.
I love it. It makes perfect sense to me. Truly, it really, really does. This is your art family. You're coming together based on your shared values, aren't you?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's fun.
I love it. I'm in. Who is your dream collaborator and why?
Oh my gosh.
That's a
Yeah,
biggie.
that makes me think. Um, okay. I mean, within the fashion system, I already realized some dreams. I was very blessed and happy to be working with Comme des Garçons, and I learned a lot, like from him, like a lot. Last Fashion Week, something crazy happened, and I had the pleasure of meeting and having a great time chatting with John Galliano. That was really like, this is a historical moment. Is it the things that
Yeah.
happens and I'm like, wow, I'm really here, aren't I? Wow. And that's the great thing that's like once you do one of your childhood dreams, you realize you have more
Yeah.
dreams, And nowadays,
Yes.
I think a lot about what can be the next beautiful steps for my art. So really want to collaborate more with the genius of these times and people that make my heart glow. There's a curator that I really loved named Alayo Akinkumbe. And Alayo, she's the creator of A Black History of Art. And she became a friend, and
Yes.
we've been talking a lot, and then, really thinking about art. So she's someone that I really want to work with. And I want to do a show at Tate Modern. I want to do
Get over
that,
here.
and I want to do that now. I don't want to wait until, like, oh, I'm on the 60s and 70s. By that time, I want to see all my grandchildren and be like, you see how these things went well? But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
want to, what I want to do now. And, I want to work with Osei Bonsu, that's the curator of international art in the Tate. I want to work with the people that, not only are paving the way, but are shining, and I want to be around them.
Well, collaborators can be many different things. They don't have to be doing what we do, but when they're as passionate about their bit as you are about your bit, that's when it all sets on fire. What's the one lesson that you keep having to learn? What are you not listening to? What keeps happening to you? I know there's a good one coming here.
It is. My father, like, we were joking about this the other day because when you watch the movies, there's this moment where the character breaks, no money, no things to do, no sense of hope. And then in the next chapter, things get super well, na. But then people don't say that these things happen literally like all the time. It's not like you break once and
You have to maintain it.
yeah. And it's funny because it's really the name of one of the pieces that I'm working now. And the name is To Keep Alive Something Delicate.
Yeah.
And it's been what I've been going through since I turned 25.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I had like very big plans of doing like one party in Brazil, one party in Ibiza, one in London, one in Paris. I ended up doing like me, my brother Rafinha, at my old flat in Hackney with a supermarket cake.
Oh,
And it was
right.
like, and then I was like, yeah.
So the lesson is just process who you are and don't be so tempted to go high, keep it more rooted in something. Do you think that's what the lesson is?
Yeah, because I'm rooted on the art and on the practice and on the love.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get to the good spot.
So I might know what I think you would answer to this, but I don't want to assume. So let's paint a picture.
Okay.
A brand comes to you with a concept. It's not bad. It's worse. It's boring. But the money is insane. Do you say yes? Or do you say no to the project?
Yeah. One of the reasons that things has been like this is also because I said a lot of no's.
Brilliant.
That this is a sweet spot for me because I tend to run away from things that do not feel good. But so far, in the places that I saw, nice budget, but then this doesn't really hit me anywhere, I was able to talk and to show people a way of doing things differently.
So if you had that experience before where you've been approached and maybe you're a fan of the brand or the collaborator, but the actual concept itself, for whatever reason, doesn't do it for you, is your instinct to ask more questions or ask to have a deeper conversation, or are you quite instinctive with your response and you just know?
Yeah, like there's the thing. If it was always just me answering back the email, things could get be like very funny very quick.
Yeah.
Because then I'm literally gonna ask about everything and the astrology and the sign, of the person. Like I'm gonna ask everything, like hair color, height.
Yep.
Like I always need to humanize relations, and it's kind of insane, especially on the creative area, where many times people want to do the reverse, And then, I mean, besides of that, we still are doing like net 60, net 80. Like, if you're a creative, sometimes you need the payment yesterday. If
Yeah.
it's on the advice note, if you are living through sometimes and in the end, like everything that you want to do is like create your art or making the creative work that you really love, and you have like this crazy budget coming from this very sad place. I mean, as long as it doesn't go against your morals and that it really like doesn't hurt, but maybe like hurts you visually, I mean, do it. It's like we live in a capitalistic system and we are literally like part of labor class. Looking at an empty fridge and like not having the supplies to do the thing that you love the most hurt much more.
Amen. Say no more. Okay, right. Next one. What are your go-to techniques for brainstorming and generating new ideas? Where does your inspiration come from?
Okay, I have two. It's literally I go overstimulating and emptiness. Like I go to both. The first one, it goes towards all the layers that creativity can go. It's like I have a bunch of notebooks open all the time. Then I have music playing. I'm gonna play 2, 3 different movies. I always have folders of images in every single like computer, cell phone, anything that I have. I'm collect images from all the time. Like I have little like hard drives with terabytes of images and photos and quotes. So it becomes a personal digital library. And then I'm always like collecting those things. If I find a plant in the middle of the street and I find it interesting, I take a photo. It's like on a way, like I'm always collecting. And then there's the moment of decoupage. That's really picking all of this information and like setting it apart. Then if I'm doing something more brainy, I can go towards some creative senses with mushrooms or like set up some nice music, smoke a joint, and just gonna open up all my supplies. And I'm gonna write and paint and compose. And I have everything in different rooms. So I have my controller and my synthesizers and the theremin in one room. Then I have the piano in the living room. Then I have the notebooks on the side. Then I have the canvases on the other room. So it's really that, like I start to go to this maze, like creative maze of sorts until I find the like eureka moment. And by that, I already have like 100 ideas up for the same thing. And I always think about everything that I was able to do when I didn't have anything of the things that I have now. And they looked amazing. Now I have more, but I already did something amazing with less. So it's coming to the roots of that. And then the moment of emptiness, it's really when I get to be bored and in silent and I'm going to lay down on the couch. I'm going to like lay down in the garden. I'm going to take a walk and then let also the things that come from nothing show up.
Beautiful. All right. Well, I think it's time for the wild card.
Oba.
Just going to go for it.
Yeah, what?
And this is a bit crazy because I sort of feel a bit awkward even asking you this. Have you ever stolen an idea? God, so awkward.
Wow. I
know it's a big one, but, sometimes, there's blurred lines,
Interesting.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that's so nice because I never did, but there's the thing, if I see something that I love, I'm going to take it and make it better.
Ooh.
Like I do my work to be a nice person and all of that, but then creativity becomes the field where it's my life. And sometimes it's literally my life on the line. So I'm surrounded by artists and creators, and I learn a lot by really shutting my mouth and sitting down in places where, when you're in a conversation where like, these people are very up in the hill of things here. So I'm going to just shut up and I watch it a lot until someone delivers me the question or they want my point of view on the subject. And by that point, I already heard everything that's all the others said. And then on my brain, I'm creating already what can be the answer that is going to connect with all of them or then they're gonna be like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
You know? So it becomes a game of adapting. And then I see something like a painting that I love from old masters or from new ones. And I understand what hits there. And usually it's like the connection of colors, or there's something with the pattern, or the way that, the paintbrush was used, or the way that the pigment was put up. And then I look at that and I adapt that to my process. There's abundance here,
Yeah.
So I don't look to others with eyes of vanity and intellectual colonization. I really look at the things of others with appreciation. And once you appreciate, you have the tendency to learn, and to learn, you understand. So it's more of a healthy approach to it, instead of just like, oh yeah, they did that, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it better. It really becomes like, oh, they did that. Congratulations. So yeah, I'm going to the studio now.
It's a great response. When this question was created, I don't know why, but I genuinely did not imagine the response you've just given, but it makes total sense, really. Okay, all right. And last question. Question number 10.
Oof, here we go.
What do you think is the most important skill for having success in your field?
Mm-hmm.
Without this, none of this can fly.
Yeah, faith, 100%. You cannot do any sort of these things. If you are always waiting for something outside to give you the hope that things can happen, then you're gonna wait for a long time. That's the only way to survive the days where there's nothing else.
Samuel, I can't believe you're 25. I can't believe it. You've lived 100 lives, and there's so much generosity in how you talk about your practice and your process.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a great time talking, and it's really great to have this sort of conversation, because it's something that also feeds me.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I feel super energized for the day now.
I hope so. Where's the best place that people can find you and your work?
I'm always traveling around, so it's really about checking on Instagram, and I always put where I'm going. From here, I go to a residency in Vermont, and from there, I'm setting up shows this year for New York, for London, and yeah, I'll see what happens along the way, because things always change.
Of course.
But I'm going to be around.
Samuel, obrigado.
Ai, obrigado você, Laura. Foi tudo.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you don't miss a single drop of the Creative Blood experience by subscribing and following the show wherever you listen to your podcasts, and share it with a fellow creative. Let's get these conversations out there and into the ears of those who need to hear them. This show was created in partnership with the brilliant humans here at Creative Blood and Scenery Studios. Thanks for listening.